So this is session 4 of Monsterhearts. Once again, we return a mashup of Avery Alder's beautiful Monsterheart system with Gillen and McKelvey and Wilson and various and sundry others working together on the Wicked and Divine comic, which is amazing and wonderful, and everybody should go check it out. We are coming back after quite a session last time. Um, we started very much in the middle of a climax, which got even climaxier and ended on a very quiet moment, a series of fairly quiet moments, but like the emotional weight just kept getting heavier throughout the whole session. It was really nice. We had the second half of Thor's performance, as it was increasingly less accurately called, as we had a brawl over on one side with Ami and Zoe and Apep and Tyr and snake monsters and all the camera phones. We had sort of a brawl on the other side with Moirai and Thor, and then Ares, and then all the lightning and punches and glittering crystals and stuff like that. Things went questionably on all sides. Apep turned into a giant snake monster. Tyr ruined his banjo. Zoe now has wings, so there's that. Tony showed up out in the alley. Recriminations were yelled. Performances were had. Miracles were done. Gods took over. It was exciting. It was great. It was all just one night. But then we sort of spun out from that. We saw Moirai dressing down and sort of maybe coming to a stronger deal with Ares. We saw a very tender, but for Ami, probably frustrating moment between Ami and Tyr. And Tyr coming out of his own head and out of his darkness. And then, since Ami had done all the emotional labor of getting Tyr out of his own ass and fixing all of his emotional problems, he then took that and made out more with Apep. So, good job, Ami. I'm sure Apep is very pleased. Tyr is definitely the patriarchy. Tyr is everything wrong in this world. You think of something bad that Tyr is, just be assured that he is. It's all his fault. And then we ended after the tender, pleasant makeouts. We ended with a sort of brief scene, which may have not been at all entirely clear to people that weren't clicking on music videos that I was showing them and using as narrative shorthand. So we saw a sort of out of character overview scene of a dozen teenagers gathered in a field, pulled Parvati, obviously drugged, out of a van, car, whatever, tied her to a stake, did some words and shouting and stuff, and then burned her alive, unpleasantly, in a very nasty sort of way. Ares showed up sort of after and had disagreements with the 12. Moirai showed up more after, and well, it was really just Ares standing there and a big burn spot and 12 bodies and 12 heads, not necessarily in the arrangement that you'd normally think. So there's that. So anyway, sorry, I was reading the chat. In the sort of time that's gone forward, I think we can just say that that's the sort of information that you could have found out with godly bits, with divination, with slight investigation online. You can find these people's identities. They have their wallets, they have their phones, things like that. Zervan showed up fairly quickly after you did, Moirai. Any of the others could have shown up in the meantime if you wanted to, but Zervan sort of like shooed people off and took care of things. And you haven't had a lot of like cops beating down your door for a dozen dead teenagers. You'd think that would be more of a thing. It's not been a thing yet. But if anyone would like to use their godly magics or hacking or technology or just Facebook stalking or whatever to look into these people more or what happened more, you can try and dig out more details. So, I think I'm going to start with Moirai just because you were very quickly there on the scene afterwards. What do you see as a scene in those next 3 days between now and the funeral?
This is the short snippets, right?
Yeah, we're doing sort of vignettes, disconnected, not necessarily full scenes. We're just seeing little bits of what happened between then and now. So it can be a dialogue with someone. It can be you just describing something, big or as small as you want.
Start off small, right?
Sure.
I think we see in like a dialogueless series of panels where I walk up to one of the headless bodies after arriving and just like pull out the scissors, grab like an invisible strand like coming off of one of the bodies and just like cuts it and shoves it in their back pocket. Like a fire in their eyes, and they stalk off. And their eyes.
We're all there together. What's your sort of intention here? Are you taking something to play with later, do you think?
Taking like a lead, like I'll use this later as a track them down or let them escape.
I like that. I'm curious. So it would be like the Atropos personality that we're seeing there, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
The cutter. So what's our visual cue there besides the scissors in hand?
You mean like appearance-wise, how we can tell?
Yeah, like how can we tell visually that this is the cutter aspect of Moirai?
I think I'm gonna roll with like different hairstyles.
Okay.
So Chobas has got like very unevenly cut, like jagged short hair.
Nice.
And then Clotho's got like the long wheels spun into the braid kind of thing.
Nice. And then finally, like, these are gruesomely murdered teenagers arranged in a circle around the ash pile where presumably Karen was burned to death. Like, how is that hitting the Moirai in the moment? Is there something about your god that's sustaining you through this, or do we see emotional impact on the teenager? What does it look like?
I think it's definitely like a couple of moments of wavering at the very beginning, like this. It's like so much to process at once, like so many conflicting emotions about the scene. But in the end, the Atropos wins out. Nice. It's like a couple of seconds of like shaking eyes for the steel of determination like glosses over.
That's cool. Okay, neat. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nah, think I'm good.
Cool. Then Ami, what do we see for Ami in those days in between?
Um, I think that Ami's going to try to extend the olive branch to Apep.
Okay. How do you think? Is it something like, do you get a gift for him, or do you do something for him, or do you just go to apologize, or what?
What I mean is, I don't think Ami actually knows that she's done anything to piss Apep off. She just knows that he doesn't seem to like her, and that there's some shit going on between him and Zoe apparently. So yeah,
Okay.
I think it's more of a she doesn't want to be enemies with Apep, so she's probably going to probably the only place she knows to find Apep is his dance club thing. So she's going to show up there, I guess.
Nice. So yeah, Ryan, what does it look like where she finds Apep?
So there's those kind of old-fashioned lights strung through, but most of them are out. And as Ami's walking into the cave, there's just no sign that anyone's ever been here, really, until one of the lights kind of flickers on, illuminating Apep kind of leaning against the cave wall, smoking, going, "What are you doing here, Amy?"
I mean, I thought we should, talk. Sorry, I'm getting a ton of background noise. This is going to make conversations a lot harder.
Is it plane light? Because I can close my window if that's a problem.
Yeah, it did sound like a plane, but it sounded like just your microphone was getting everything and juicing it up a ton.
Okay, is that any better background noise wise? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I could play with the window open because usually it cooperates, but apparently not today. Anyway, I mean, you're here already, so go ahead, Doc.
I mean, with everything that happened, with Karen, we shouldn't hate each other. I don't know. Do you hate me? I mean, it kind of seems that way.
I don't hate you. I mean, you're like saltines. I can't have an opinion about you. You're just there.
See, that's.
I feel like that's a lot of shutdown.
Yeah, that's a ton of shutdown.
True, I should roll that given that I am really bad. I might level.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, roll that and we'll get back to it. But had anybody leveled so far? Lauren is muted. I can't tell from your reaction.
Not yet. I have 2 more to go.
Okay. That is entirely depressing, and I am totally over that shit. So everybody keep your XP where it is right now and go ahead and take an advancement, because I mean, we're far enough in the story that you should have an advancement at this point. We went through 2 very stressful sessions. I get super annoyed trying to play in these gauntlet style short arcs where you're just desperate for XP and you never get to do anything. So play around with an advancement, figure it out over the course of the session. And
I mean, to be fair, it makes sense because we're all just so amazing.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
We're not feeling all the time.
So I'm going to be honest. That's going to make this conversation between me and Apep way more interesting.
Okay, I'm glad I
pick a cool
remembered that
advancement?
then.
I
Oh,
didn't look at mine yet because none were relevant to right now.
Oh, I have been planning this advancement from a different playbook this entire time.
So, what is it that you're picking up, David?
I'm picking up 2 eyes.
Oh my! Is that from the neighbor?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, I think we can have that play out in scene, and you read it when it becomes appropriate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I got a 9 to shut her down, which is about as good as Apep's ever going to do on this.
Ooh.
So Ami gets to give me a condition in return, but... Oh, what do I want to do? I'm going to give Ami a condition because I can. I think that condition is going to be just there.
I'm going to give you the condition of defensive.
How dare you be so accurate? You shouldn't say these things.
Just there is amazing.
My God, I have so many conditions. I should be playing the hollow.
Wow. Yeah, you are doing well there.
Not really. I think so. Yeah, actually, this is a great time to use the new move. I think Ami just takes off her glasses and rubs the bridge of her nose. And she just looks at you and she's like, "Look, you don't have to put on a brave front for me." And I turn you on.
Because what happens when you take off your glasses now?
So I desperately need my glasses to see, but when I'm not wearing my glasses, my hot becomes 3.
That's the best. I love the neighbor playbook. It's so fun.
Let me ask, how can you have a sun goddess who isn't hot?
So yeah, describe for us the sort of like slightly slow motion hair shampoo sort of commercial that we get for a moment there as you take your glasses off.
Yeah, so I think like my hair just kind of gets like a little bit of like a draft going with it. Just like as if there's a natural warm breeze coming through. And it's not so much that like she's supernaturally beautiful. It's that without the glasses, you can see like these like sparkling hypnotic reflections in her eyes.
Nice. So yeah, why don't you roll with your newly enhanced hot?
10.
Nice. So let's see. On 10 plus, you gain a string on them, and they choose a reaction from below. So, Apep, if you look at the turn someone on move.
Apep is weirdly turned on and also kind of grossed out by that because, I mean, it's Amy. So, I'm going to promise something I think Amy wants. Like, okay, so if you want me to be, like, nicer to you in front of the others or something, cool, whatever, I can do that.
I mean, with everything that happened, I think we just got to stop being at each other's throats, and not just you, but everyone. I'm trying to own I'm trying to own my part of this.
Do you want to spin a string on Apep to try and get him to agree with you?
Oof. Actually, no, because as much as Amy wants Apep to agree, David wants to see Apep blow up at Amy. So I'm going to spend a string for Apep to blow up at Amy.
Oh, okay. So, describe, like, what do you mean by a blow up here?
Basically, rather than like like rather than playing into the hey, maybe I should examine like what I've been doing in my relationships with the rest of the pantheon. No, I'm just gonna take out all of my baggage on Amy. Like
So okay. So Apep, this little twerp that Zoe is flaunting in front of you, and who now has somehow found, I mean, definitely not better light than you in here, but maybe equal light to you in here, and that is, I don't know. How do you feel about this? You get an XP if you blow up at her.
So I'm not really at any of the Pantheon's throat except you, granted. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there's anything we can do about that. That's sort of how we're wired. I can't be other than I am. I mean, but what's with all this self-importance lately? I mean, Zoe uses you to get at me, and suddenly you think we're on equal footing. I mean, you didn't think that was about you, right? She does this.
Look, I don't know what the hell's going on. What's that about? I think like the nervous Amy is coming back. Like obviously, like she's very she is having like a lot of doubts over what's going on with Zoe.
I mean, if you want to have it out, then okay. Normally I'd say we can fuck or fight, but yeah, I got a thing. So fighting's on the table still.
You think is that all you see out there? I mean, come on, everything that's happening. We're not even going to grow up, and that's all you can think about. Who you want to beat up and who you want to stick your dick in?
I mean, or the other way around, sure. But we've got 2 years. We can do what we want with it, and I don't really see how this is a good use of my time. So, like, is it gonna make you feel better if you take a swing at me or something? 'Cause I'm right here. And I think Apep at this point, as she's pausing, just gives her kind of a shove, like, I can get you started if you just need something to make you angry.
I'm gonna lash out there, Apep.
Sure, I'll lash out.
She's not giving you the response that you want.
Usually this is where people tell me to shut up and they get angry at me, but Ami's not good at that.
Until she is.
All right. Roll with volatile.
So that's a 12. Because I am intensely volatile.
Wow. Okay. So on a 10 plus, you deal them harm, and they choke up momentarily before they can react. I'll remind you that you could spin strings to do extra harm if you wished. But otherwise, I think a shove probably into like a cave feature would probably just be 1 harm.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do extra harm, and I'm not going to give her extra conditions or anything by pulling more strings, because she has so many. So
I know.
Okay. Then, Brian, I think you get to describe how this scene ends out, because Ami is sort of staggered and lost for words, I think, here.
I mean, Apep is pushing for Ami to, toughen up and attempt to punch him with the sun. I don't know if he can get that out of her, but he's going to just be a raging dick at her until she either fights him or leaves. So I don't want to dictate that for David, how she reacts.
Yeah. No, she's not going to react very well to this.
Do you think she'd hit back?
I think she's I think she has her eyes like totally closed right now, and she's very quietly saying, "Please don't make me do this. It won't be good."
Oh, are you scared of your god self? I mean, come on. What are you gonna do to me?
Um,
You're afraid you're gonna lose, aren't you?
I am interested, Ami, in what you're afraid might happen here if you don't keep your cool.
yes. So Ami knows that she's the goddess of the sun, and she's actually gone online and calculate and looked up the measurements of just how hot the sun is.
Oh dear.
She's afraid that if she uses her power in full, the sun will just be right down here.
All right. Well, why don't you roll with cold and we'll see how that goes.
Now, granted, I'm not. I don't think you're actually going to have us blow up the planet, but that's kind of the level of why Ami's afraid.
You don't know me. I believe teen angst can blow up anything.
So that is a 6.
Oof.
Delicious XP.
Yes, you do get some delicious XP. I think I'm gonna give Apep another string on you, as yeah. I think you. Do you think you sort of like run out and crumble, or do you just not say anything as he sort of drives you from this cave? He's getting the upper hand here, but how do you think you end up leaving?
I think Ami's shivering, like trying to hold it all in, and you probably see like the flare of something very bright, like just flickering in and out of existence right in front of Ami's face.
And
she just
oh yeah, go.
And like with her eyes closed, she just kind of stumbles out of your cave. And as she's gone, you see this huge flare of light.
And as she leaves the cave, Apep's just like, "Yep, run away. That's your only move."
So, good team building exercise complete. Everybody feels better. That was amazing. Wow. Okay, this is gonna be a fun funeral, you guys. So, what do we see from Tyr?
Oh, well, I'm so torn. I have 2 scenes in mind. One of which is confessing to Apep that I know that I have a feeling that Parvati is going to die before it happens. And the other is like what any self-indulgent god teen would do after someone dies, which is have a really intimate like tribute concert in their honor for like a charity. So
That's amazing.
Those are the 2 seeds that I'm torn between.
I mean, I could see it. So you're saying like confessing to Apep before the thing with Parvati even went down, not after.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's far enough back. I could see a divine the past for that. If you want to see like how that secret is currently holding up, or yeah, I could totally see a performance.
I could, yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking as well. I was like, this could totally be a performance or a divine the past. I don't know which one I want to see more of. Mostly because I picked up the best song, which is like the 4th of July, which Sophia and Stevens wrote for when his mother died, which I feel like is really appropriate for this. I'll pop in the chat. Anyway, yes, but I think Divine the Past would be more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll just, my head canon is that gig happened.
Cool. So that's going to be you and Apep.
Indeed. I think this is so popular.
Well, I mean, he's just. Have you seen him?
He's hot. Also kind of a dick, but so hot.
So, where do you think this is taking place? Where did you tell him?
This is probably right after we like made up, and funnily enough, in the mope cave. So it's probably right after. Oh yeah, because we slept together, and I lost all of my integrity. So of course I'm feeling like I need to get this off of my chest because I'm an awful human being for not doing anything about this.
Nice.
Yeah. That's probably right after that moment.
Ryan, how do you feel about this? Do you have anything to add in here?
Yeah, I mean, that works for me. I'm still curious to see where you're going with this, Laura. So
I have no idea. I'm just making this shit up as I go along.
So
role-playing games, the definition.
Well, let's follow the dice and see where they lead us. So, what sort of stat do you think you're approaching this situation with here?
That's a good question.
I could see easy arguments for cold or dark.
Yeah. It's probably dark, I think. Because cold I interpret for tear as being like quite like that I feel like cold's tear I feel like is that like festive, like no, I'm being fucking serious now and I'm gonna like unleash the hard hand of like justice. So I feel like this is dark mopey tear. Yeah, this is dark.
Okay. So go ahead and roll and we'll see how we interpret this here.
Excellent. Also, this is the fourth time in a row I've not opened up the roll for your party room before I had to roll. I'm so sorry.
You're a terrible person, Lauren.
I got a 7.
All right. So it's unclear. It's sort of hard to say who got the upper hand here. You're each going to get a choice from below on gain a string on them or give a condition to them.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, since we've got this here, I think this is a good time to throw in that I've been thinking of adding a third option here of ask them a question they have to answer right now.
Yes, that is so appropriate for this. I don't love this question. I love this option so much. I always take them. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll throw that on there as a third option, but you both get to make a choice.
Nice. Oh, would it help if I sort of set up what this looks like visually?
Yeah. So this is Apep's cave, and it's after we had faded to black before. But yeah, what does it look like?
Like in, I guess I'm sorry to David because this is a wicked specific scene I have in mind. But like when this is also minor wicked spoilers. But when like Persephone bucks Bahamut, and it's kind of like that sort of like very shadowy, dark, like cave, lots of like silhouetted like paneling going on, kind of thing, like lots of to sort of represent like the darkness that's going on in Tia's head right now. And I think like the paneling has not a lot of like white space nor sort of text going with it. Yeah, the panels are in Tia's colors for sure. There's lots of feathers and stuff going on, but they're all black and dark because he's feeling sad and evil. And yeah, the text is he probably like confesses it very minimally, and like a sort of a very whispery voice just above, like it's like a murmur. That He probably says, "I've done a terrible thing. Parvati is to die." That's what he says.
Wait, so like you killed Parvati somehow?
I don't know if it's by my hand, but my inaction certainly will cause her death, I fear.
So we need at some point to have a conversation about terrible thing and tier terrible, because I don't think you get the distinction. I mean, it doesn't sound to me like you're planning to actually murder someone.
But if I have the option to do something so it doesn't happen, am I not just as culpable?
Do you have the option? It doesn't sound like you know if you do.
You're right, I'm weak.
That is not what I fucking said, dear.
I don't know when it will happen, but I didn't even warn her. I had a chance to. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, so like, if you told me you're gonna die, I would be like, yeah, obviously, and go back to what I was doing. I mean, how did you expect that to go over? I don't think you can really prep someone for that.
Perhaps you're right. Our existence in this plane is fleeting, but would you want to know? If I saw you die, would you want me to tell you?
And I think there's like 3 panels of Apep just kind of staring and thinking, and then kind of staring at the ceiling. He's like, yeah, I think I would.
I think that's good.
Awesome.
So yeah, what are your choices?
Oh yeah. I definitely want to. I just love asking questions. I just need to know which question to ask you.
Right. To frame it out, it can be a sort of in or slightly out of character question if you want, and the idea of truthfully is truthfully from the character's mindset right now. Not necessarily completely, not necessarily factual.
I think Tia's question for Apep is, what am I to you?
I am so resisting the urge to answer in character because there's so much defensive bullshit that can go into that.
Well, you can answer in character, but Tyr's gonna see through to the truth, so you can give a little of both.
Yeah, I think if Tyr were to try to broach this question in character, he'd get some like, what? I mean, you have to ask, come on, seriously, and just trying to completely blow it off. But I think it's pretty easy for anyone, and Tyr particularly, to see that Apep is pretty all in on this. But then again, he doesn't really do anything halfway. He's very volatile, so read into it what you want.
Nice. And what's your choice, Ryan?
I would love to ask a question, but I think I need to give the condition self-flagellating, because that was all that Apep was saying to Tyr, so.
Okay. So we have a lot of conditions flying around. I'll remind people that generally you get rid of conditions through addressing them in the fiction, either getting into trouble because of them or doing something that's blatantly the opposite or something like that. So you can definitely frame tiers to, or God, I'm reading the chat and trying to talk at the same time. That never works. You can either frame scenes to specifically go after some of your conditions, or if you want to call out to me at some point, like, hey, I think I may have cleared up that one, let me know. But otherwise, pay attention to each other's conditions, because you can pull on them to make things so much worse. And remember your strings on each other, because you can pull on them to make things so much worse. That was amazing. So, Apep, what do we see from you?
I think Apep is just going to meet Ares in her biker bar. And we'll see him kind of sitting at the bar, with drink in front of him, smoking again, going, so, who would want to kill Parvati anyway? Because he's just trying to figure out what on earth happened and why, given that nobody texts him when stuff's going down. They don't need it to go 6 times worse. So he probably got the news, closest to last.
That's your takeaway. That's your insightful addition to the investigation, to the conversation here. Who the fuck would want to kill Parvati?
No, that's my asking for literally any detail at all, besides Tyr telling me that he's pretty sure Parvati's gonna die. Which, Tyr. When he says that he's sure something bad's gonna happen, it's just a lot of, okay, Tyr, but you're not actually the worst thing ever, so could we get some details?
Okay, so let's clarify timing and sort of specificity here.
Yeah.
Is this before or after Parvati dies?
I think this is after Parvati dies.
So
but
you're
before the funeral.
Laying out to Ares that Tyr knew this was going to happen.
Nothing bad can come of this.
Okay. Just wanted to be totally sure we were all on the same page.
And also Apep knew that Tyr knew and didn't say anything, but hey. Ares murders both of us. That's a cool end to the session.
So is this just your opening line as you come into the bar?
Pretty much, yeah. I think he walks in, just kind of totally ignores her 2 guard people, because they're not really people, they're furniture at this point. Sits down, probably helps himself to a bottle, because clearly you never pay for anything at this bar. And lights up, and then lays in with that line.
Wow. Okay. So as you come up behind her, you see her sort of still in the outfit that you saw her at the performance. Instead of the metal studs and spikes on her jacket, it's these prismatic crystal shards that are sort of coming up from her shoulders and cascading down the front and the back of the jacket. You see her shoes, these I think sort of platform Doc Marten sort of look. Shoes also have these crystal spikes on the toes of them and sort of sticking out. And you just hear, God, this poor bar. You just hear this groaning of glass under strain as the bottle breaks in her hand as she slams it down on the bar, and a shard of the neck stabs deep down into the wood of the bar, and you see her hand holding around the neck of it. Her nails are long and sharp, and that same prismatic glittering crystal, and you see breaking and tearing up through the skin on her knuckles. These crystals have just erupted from her skin and are poking out. And she just, through gritted teeth, fuck did you just say?
You heard me, I'm sure. I mean, clearly that was the wrong thing. Can we just get this out of the way and get back to details? And
And
I'm gonna say here that Apep is not at all as impressive looking as she is. It's just skinny jeans, boots, black tee, probably like V-neck, revealing that he's got cobra tattoos up his arms and a lot of scarring, which may or may not be post-Apep. Clearly, he's been the wrong side of fights a lot.
before I do terrible things to you, I had sort of had a passing thought over the week, but is there any sort of like long-term visual leftover from you transforming into a giant coiling snake monster that I feel like in re-listening I did not give enough weight to? Because it was amazing.
I feel like I don't think it changed a lot of Jamie's appearance so much as giving him a very like freshly polished sort of look. Like it looks like his scars are faded by years versus they really shouldn't be that old. He's 17ish, but
That's
yeah,
nice. I
sort of
do like the
sloughed off a layer
idea.
of him.
hmm I do like the idea though that like there is some change, and this might be something that would like slowly shift even further over time. Again, to go
Sure.
into Wiccan Divine nerdery, one of the things I was thinking about was Sakmet, who's they've basically based on Rihanna, and she's the Egyptian goddess of cats and killing things that move too fast. But she starts out in the series as very like normal and just Rihanna having fun. But as you go further and further, you see these little physical transformations. Like her nails turn into these cat claws that extend out through the flesh in her fingers, and she gets like these weird physical deformities as we go along. So I don't know. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
intrigued by the
Okay.
idea of
Yeah.
slow accretion.
I wasn't totally getting your drift there, but yes, totally in the segment, however you say words, vein. Yeah, so he's taking way too long between blinks, and there's a nictating membrane. We're at work now.
Ah, neat. Cool. So that's all beautiful and lovely. In the moment, though, you're also getting a much closer and more intimate look at Ares, as there's this like air rushing noise, and then there's a wall at your back, and a very small, very angry Ares at your front, sort of slamming you up against it. You see her face; her eyes are like still that crimson red, and streaming blood or tears or something down her face in this like glittering bloody tracks that go down as she slams you up against the wall and says, "Fuck is wrong with you? Fucking knew that something was going to happen to you. You and Tyr were what, laughing about this shit, just waiting for some bitches come set her on fire?"
Okay, no, fuck no, that's not at all what I said. I got a really vague prophecy that she was going to die, and he's still saying this despite being thrown against the wall with like spike hands. That's probably like piercing him somewhat, everything. But I mean, we're all gonna die, so I didn't think there was a lot of weight to it. And it was a whole, but maybe I can do something, but maybe I can't. And it sounded very
Yeah, she slams you up
Tyr.
against the wall again. Um,
Do I take harm from this? Because it
yeah,
sounds like I do.
you're definitely taking harm from this one. Uh, she's you didn't think it was fucking worth mentioning? Maybe I should share with you a little bit of what Karen went through
Whoa,
at the
whoa,
end. Would you
okay, I
like to
didn't.
feel some of what Parvati was inconsequentially going through?
I didn't think that you and Parvati were an item, but like, sorry, I would have said something.
Um, there's just a lot of a scream, and then there's more wind and wood and glass and asphalt and a car rushing past and into you. And go ahead and take another harm as she flings you bodily from this bar and down a block or two.
Yeah, and I think we see, yeah, Apep just flying several paddles and then just kind of picks himself up, like, okay. Again, clearly the wrong thing to say, but details. Even though she's not even on the same panel or block.
You hear the approaching sound of crashing swords and glass. Do you stay or do you leave?
I think Apep stays. Running from a fight is not in his repertoire.
Hmm. I don't know. I've hit you a couple of times. You want to take a swing at her as she comes in?
Yeah. So we see, as you see that screaming towards thing. Yes. A clash. Okay. You see his eyes go a bit too snaky, and he just kind of reaches into the shadow of the car and pulls out jet black Kopesh, which is apparently the shadow's like becoming a weapon for him. And it's gonna meet her as she attempts to slash him with the sword that he knows she has. Ares goes that way. She's predictable.
Nice. All right. Give that a roll. Let's see how this goes.
That's an 11. I am really good at this.
Wow. Okay. Too many tabs. So, yeah. I think as she's running down the street after you, she is like screaming, teeth gritted. You can see sort of a bloody, glittery froth at her mouth, like literally frothing from the mouth as she runs at you, and is just blindly swinging at you with these like crystal glass knuckles. And so I think you managed to dodge them, and you're going to get a cool line off as you like smash her down into the asphalt and leave. But what does that look like?
I thought you were the god of tactics. I mean, I thought getting defeated every time was my thing. But okay. And he just kind of tosses the Kopesh and it disappears in a flash of digital distortion and walks off.
How did you hurt her? Where did you slash her? She's going to take harm from this.
I think as she was going in for a swing, kind of caught her with the inverse hook of the Kopesh, the not sharpened part, and kind of flung her face down into the pavement.
Nice. All right. So I think we're going to take a break here in a minute, but I want to check in with people. Do we want to do another round of lead up, or are we ready to get into messy scenes at the funeral?
Both. I'm never usually like this, but like I'm vibrating with like this scene, which is for sure a gig commemorating Parvati, which I have no right to do because I knew she was going to die and I did nothing to stop it, and yet I'm here mourning her, and I know exactly which god is going to come and fuck up my gig if I get a mixed result. Let's just say that.
Okay, so I think we have an enthusiastic vote from Lauren. How do other people feel?
I'm done for another round.
Dave?
I could probably figure out a good scene for Ami. I do want to make sure we're going to leave a good amount of time for the funeral, though, because I think that is going to be super delicious.
Cool. So why don't we take why don't we come back at 45? We had a do we want to still use the same song for tier performance, Lauren?
150 million%. It's like the fucking saddest song I've ever heard in my life, and it's so sweet and endearing, and he has no right to play it for Parvati.
All right, so scroll up a little bit in the chat, and you'll have some entertainment music while we're on break. And I'll see y'all in a few minutes.
Not yet made an appearance. You probably should have seen that coming. It was funny first, but
Everything about Tyr is the saddest thing ever.
I'm sorry. I love that song too. Oh man,
That
it
was
makes me
really
cry
pretty.
like every time I listen to it. In fact, that whole album is like such a good one. It's just like an autopsy of his relationship with like his mother and that kind of thing. Because his brother was like dying of cancer, but they had a very tumultuous like on and off again sort of like relationship and that kind of thing. And it's just, I cry every time I listen to that album. Sorry, that's too much, but
No, I love it. So I think we're gonna go around one more time. Again, we're gonna try and hit some shorter scenes if I can manage to make scenes short. I have a problem with that. And then I think I'm gonna steal a little tech from Fellowship to go through the like proto disasters at the funeral, and then we'll zero in on the wake. So, Moirai, what else
Yes.
do we see in that 3 days?
I think we see the Moirai check in on Ami.
Ooh.
Interesting. So where do you think you find her? You looking for somewhere that's very her, or somewhere that's neutral, or somewhere that's very you? What do you think?
Let's go for somewhere very Ami. Where does Ami hang out?
Ooh, that is an excellent question. Oh, Ami is totally one of those like geeky kids who like hangs out in a bookstore, like reading random things without without actually buying much.
Nice.
Which, by the way, guilty.
I think as you come in, Moirai, you see this big like life-size photo and display of Ami there, and they have like Amaterasu's book club as they're recommending and highlighting like all the things she sat there and read when she comes in.
Ami totally blushes every time she sees that display.
So yeah, you come in, presumably find her reading. What do you say as you come up? And which of the three of you do we see?
Oh man, good question. I think we see like this like imbalance between them. It's like the hair is constantly like morphing in on itself, like trying to grow longer and then shortening itself again in this like state of flux.
Nice. I think like panel to panel, we see it sort of shifting from one look into another. It's
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
That's very distressing and unsettling to look at, I imagine.
Oh yeah, everything about the Moirai is unsettling to look at.
Obviously.
Yeah, I think the Moirai rocks up and like very quietly, like just almost a whisper, says, "How are you holding up?"
I think this is actually like after Ami's blow up, and like I think her clothes are all like singed and her glasses are like misshapen because they got a little melty and things like that. She's like, I want to be better. Why does it have to be so hard?
That's the lot we were given. Here for 2 years or less. And then we die.
I thought I could handle the 2 years, but it's just everything else that comes with it. It's so much.
I know. But I mean, it's all we've got. We've only got such a short time.
And I think Amy says way too loudly, So the whole story here is, then why does everyone have to be a dick to each other?
His life's too short to fucking hide anything, all right?
Personally, I think it's too short to do this petty bullshit we keep doing.
Petty bullshit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about you, but I'd rather not spend these 2 years feeling alone.
And just fucking tell everyone that. Listen, I was the first to welcome you into this horrific fold because I knew that there were no happy endings here. This interim, this brief period is all we've got. So I've got to make the most of it. If you think that you want things to change, then fucking change them, all right?
How do you deal with it? Deal with the knowledge of just how dangerously powerful we all are.
You really think it's the power that's the problem?
That's the part where if I mess up, it hurts everyone.
So what?
I don't want to
Yes,
be
we've had
responsible for that.
Why not?
Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be the goddess of the sun. Do you know do you know how much I know about Amaterasu? Just what I read on Wikipedia.
Well,
And yet I'm supposed to be responsible for the sun. Do you know how fucking hot the sun is?
no.
If I brought 1,000th of the power here, it would probably kill all life on Earth.
Congratulations.
I don't want that. Who would
Then
want
don't
that?
fucking do it.
But I don't. How do I know that I won't just do it someday because I'm angry or sad or fucking horny?
So, Monsterhearts is an interesting game where you don't have a lot of options in the like support / make people feel better. So, I'm loving all this. If either of you want to move it towards a mechanic, I could see like Moirai trying to open up in a performance and see if she could impart her vision of the world, Zur vision of the world to Ami. I could see you doing a turn someone on to, you know, they give themselves to you in the not let's make out in a bookstore sort of way.
I mean, I could also see this just be like, I spend a string if Ami calms the fuck down.
Yeah, so if you have a particular response you'd like out of Ami, I could also see that if you spend a string on her.
Yeah.
What do you think you want to happen, Alex?
I'll offer a string to Ami if she fucks someone up.
If I fuck someone up.
In what way?
Anyway, mess with someone. Hurt them.
So, physically, emotionally, either or?
Either or.
Oh God.
Life's too short to be afraid, Ami.
So Moirai wants you to take it out on someone. What do you say?
Is that really what you want to see? I think Ami closes her eyes, breathes to 4, and a beam of sunlight destroys Apep's fucking cave.
Okay. So we have a sense of the problem you're trying to solve and how you're trying to solve it. Why don't you lay out some consequences there? Choose
Yeah.
2 from the work of miracle list.
I've been saving your God's personality takes over for a time, but I want that to happen when Tyr's around because I think I know what Amaterasu wants.
Hey, it's all it takes is a snap of a finger to work a miracle. It's always open to you.
That's true. Oh God, this is totally the theme for Ami. It takes a life of its own.
Okay.
And this is I basically called down a death ray from space. This is going to attract other gods' attention.
Okay. So I'm curious, are you just we've had some unintentional miracle workings from Ami before. This seems a little more intentional, but do you realize what you're doing here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think with the Moirai's egging on, Ami is just like, I'm going to take all of this stress I'm under and I'm going to channel it into this one thing at the one person who's going to appreciate it.
I mean, there's daylight streaming into this bookstore here. Do you grab the Moirai and do the 2 of you go view this happening?
No. I think I just leave what I did unsaid.
All right. So yeah, we may circle back to this in a minute again with either you or Ryan when we get around. But I think a screaming fireball of Zoe is going to come raining down on Apep's cave.
I did not. That's great.
Because, you know, she still has her it takes on a life of its own empowerment from last time that got a little fucked up. But hey, it just got some new strength and a new directive.
Oh my God, that's delicious.
Yeah, so Moirai, how do you feel about this? You seem to have gotten some, not necessarily concrete assurance that she's come to your way of thinking a bit.
Well, I mean, yeah, it seems like she's found some Amaterasu.
Nice.
Good for you.
Good job, buddy. All right. So that was brilliantly destructive. Yeah, we'll figure out that last part in a bit. So Ami, what where do we see things from here?
Oh fuck. That's I mean, definitely Ami is has calmed down quite a bit. Is probably thinking a lot more clearly about like the situation she's in. God, do I go see Tyr? Do I go see Thor? Do I go see Ares? Do I go
Definitely
see
don't
Zoe?
check in on the destruction left in your way.
He'll get a nicely worded card. No, I'm waiting for that interaction to happen at the funeral. I think that's way better, unless that's what Apep's going to try to do. You know what? No. So David wants to see more focus of PC interactions. So that's going to push me over the fence and go see Tyr. Ooh, I think I've got it. Tyr wants to do his performance, and I think Ami is going to like visit Tyr backstage before he goes on.
Cool. So, Lauren, I'd like to hear what sort of venue or a particular type of venue or place, if you have that in mind.
Oh,
Where's
totes.
this performance?
Yeah, it's at this very intimate gig. Like, it's probably a community hall or something. There's probably enough seating for like maybe 80 people. And it's just like it'll just be him on like a dusty stage with like a singular spotlight, no backing band, like him and his banjo. Because like there's nothing more self-indulgent than just having yourself on stage singing music about someone that you could have saved from dying but didn't, right?
Do you announce this beforehand? Like, do you hype this concert at all?
I think it'll, out of respect for Parvati, obviously, it'll just be like a single tweet.
So there are only a couple of hundred people packed into here.
Yeah. Because it'd be uncouth and disrespectful to make a big spectacle of it, despite the fact that he's making a big spectacle of it.
So, Dave, what's it look like backstage in the sort of like green room, dressing room area?
It sounds like this is a pretty bare bones sort of situation. It's probably like a cross between a bathroom and a lounge, like just like no real decoration, countertop with vanity mirror for people to check how they look before going on stage, shitty ass couch, cooler with beers, that sort of thing.
All right. So I think you're there talking to Tyr, and just to add annoying flavor to the scene, I think down the hall from you and sort of like tapping his toe because he said that you totally promised him that you'd get him in to meet Tyr is Tony, who you could not manage to shake all evening after he heard about the tweet and mysteriously appeared at your side.
Oh my God, he's such a...
But yeah, you go in and what do you say to Tyr?
Tyr is tuning out, by the way, like in a mirror, looking at himself, obviously, with those like pop bulb lights around it.
I have to get my head, back into where Amy will likely be.
So, Lauren, what's the banjo looking like at this point?
Yeah, because he can't get rid of it because this is a reminder of how much he hurt Apep, and it's a reminder of a place he doesn't want to go back to. Yeah, it probably it's the body of it has like a flat dent in it, kind of thing. Like it rests very uncomfortably against his thigh, and it's It's probably got some snake skin stuck to the skin.
Great. Ami?
So yeah, I think Ami makes a little bit of nervous, like small talk, and then she takes off her glass, like during an awkward pause, she takes off her glasses and just looks up all doe-eyed at Tyr and says, "So, I think I'm in love with you." And waits for you, and with that shocked silence.
Oh my god.
Like, little bit of a pause, and I think you knew that.
Why does everyone love me? I'm a horrible. I'm just. I'm not. He doesn't say this, but I was just in his head. He's thinking, "I'm such a horrible person. Why would you ever like curse yourself with loving me?" But he doesn't say it.
And I think this is a turn on. I mean, it's confessing your love. Oh yeah, this is totally. My God. So that's a 15.
Holy shit!
So I just would like to pile on here because it seems fun. So I think as she looks up and says this to you, Tyr, like there's something in her eyes, in sort of the cock of her head, and like how her hair is falling tonight, that is like, it just hits you. It reminds you of Parvati. Like they look nothing alike, but there's just something there that strikes your brain. And I'm gonna go ahead and spin Parvati's last string on you, and I'll give you an XP if you go for what is it? I give myself to you.
Oh, we could need to play more games together because that is always my response. But I'll take that.
But yeah, you just sort of hear her voice in the back of your head, like,
yeah.
I think you get like a little scene, a snippet of a conversation you had with her at some point, where you're asking her about like, why do you find all these different people? Why do you go out, date, see all these different people? And she just says, I could never look at someone broken and not try and help them.
Oh.
And you just hear that in your voice as you look at Ami, or in your head as you look at Ami.
Yeah, and I don't think like Tyr says anything, but he gets out of like the seat he was in, and I think he walks over to Ami, and I guess he's a little bit taller than Ami, because Ami's quite tall. Ami's like tall, right?
Yeah, she's 6'3".
Yeah.
So in fact, he probably has to look up a little bit at her. And I think he gazes into like her big, like doughy eyes for several long seconds. And he says, "Oh man, it's so much I want to say." He says, "I know what it's like to love someone from the bottom of your heart. Someone you probably shouldn't give that gift to. I've done a lot recently I'm not proud of. I'm not deserving of the affection you bestow upon me. But and yet, and I think like that's when that's probably when he cups like Ami's cheek, and it feels as like Parvati's, and he like strokes a lock of hair behind her ear where like Parvati used to like have her flower. And that's when I think he leans in and like kisses Ami. That's not fucked up at all.
Yeah, so I think Ami gives in for a moment and then pushes you back.
And I think Tyr looks at you with like hurt in his eyes.
God, what? I came here to get over you.
I'm sorry.
I mean, Aren't you with Apep?
I I I don't know what he and I have, but I love him dearly, and I shouldn't. We've walked this path before. It only ends in destruction.
Look, I came here to get my feelings out because I realized I thought the thing that was stopping us from being actual friends was the fact that I just couldn't get you out of my head and just God, your lips were really soft.
Are you sweating?
Yes, very much. That is an excellent point.
Nice call, Lauren.
I've been playing a lot of fucking Monsterhearts since past month.
So yeah, when you when you start to glow in this situation a wee bit, MC tells you which person is aroused. Oh, it's definitely Tyr. You get a string on Tyr, and then Tyr chooses a musk option.
Nice.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna make this so hard for you. This is the best. Tia looks at you with like that really what is the word I'm looking for? Like that soft guilt's not the right word, but like I guess like sadness.
Forlorn?
Yes, forlorn is a really he looked like soft forlorning. And he says, Hami, it's so fitting that you embody a sun goddess, for your beauty is glowing and warm, and there are no words to say to thank you enough for the dark place you pulled me out of with your light.
And I think I'd like to fade sort of from there into your performance.
Ooh, yeah.
So tell us, when you get up on stage, like, what does it look like? What is the special effects and godly over the topness of your performance look like?
Oh, yeah. This is so interesting. Oh, no, yeah, totally. So it's like, it's, damn it. So it starts out really simple and minimalistic, with it's like a solitary light on Tyr, and it's just him and his banjo. And I think it's probably the same kind of like feathering effect we had when he walked through the gig prior, where this impossible amount of snowy white, like dove feathers, sort of come down from the ceiling in this like snow globe of like peace, and like swirl around the audience. And there's probably like, as Tyr's music swells, like this invisible backing chorus band, like a very angelic and powerful, like come in to support his like performance. I think it's
Nice. So now you say what you're trying to communicate to your audience: an emotion, a belief, your innermost self, visions of the future, whatever, and roll with dark. So what is it that you're trying to communicate with this performance? Your tribute concert.
Yeah, my tribute concert. Tyr is trying to convey, like, it's probably this mix of like love, acceptance, healing, peace. Because it could be very easy to react to what happened with hate and violence and hurt, but it's unhealthy to look back upon the past with such vehemence and revenge, and one should turn the other cheek and like seek a path of justice and retribution through love, acceptance, and peace.
All right. Why don't you roll with dark? We'll see how that comes across.
This is gonna go so badly. Roll these dice. I got a 4. But I level up. So
Wow. So that did not come across well.
no, not at all.
So, yeah, okay. So you give your performance, like the audience there, it's a godly performance. There's a measure of ecstasy to it, no matter how well or poorly it goes. So your immediate audience there seems very into it. The performance feels like it goes really well. You get backstage, you're sort of like decompressing from it afterwards, while the crowd is still out there, I don't know, playing with dove feathers or whatever, just in their reverie. When you yeah, possibly when you start getting like ping after ping after ping on your phone from Twitter, as you're getting all of these like mentions of you, you go digging into it, and you see that who was he? Shay, the online hater who really doesn't believe in you junior league varsity gods and misses the old day with the original members of the Pantheon when it was still cool and shit. Shay has retweeted something from a name you may not immediately recognize, but from a Tony Matsuda. It's a picture of you and Ami making out backstage. And Shay is breaking this like news story that about how Ami, newest member of the Pantheon, so desperate for attention that she's just willing to bomb anyone's performance by making out with someone random there just to get attention and get photos. And of course, like, you're very much swept up in the uh, using people vibe, as he points out that this was taking place backstage at the performance where Tyr was trying to usurp Parvati's sort of place and use her memory for his own performances and to get some of her fans to come on his side. It's oh wow. So there's some unpleasantness in the comments that go on around age too, I imagine. But yeah, and I think worth noting as you look into this, like, you're comparing, and you have an insane amount of Twitter followers. Shay has like 5 times the amount of followers you could ever hope to have. Everyone is seeing this. He is like the social media news source for the Pantheon, and this is immediately going viral. So have fun with that. So Apep. Some interesting things have been laid at your feet, sort of by other people's seeds. Are you interested in playing that out, or do we see you after the aftermath? I suppose just after the math.
I like the idea of there not being a lot of it playing out besides Apep kind of smoking, looking at his phone is like, fuck, and then looks up and there's this like sun bolt thing barreling into the cave and he's like, what the fuck? And then it kind of cuts off to other things.
I like that. That's very good. Just an explosion of a comic panel. And next. I don't think there was anything particularly hanging from that. Your cave's all fucked up. Zoe laughed a lot. It wasn't pleasant. So,
question: did Zoe stick around to gloat?
yes.
I mean, it's Zoe. Of course she did.
1000%.
What's the point of doing something if you don't know that it was noticed?
She is absolutely the worst.
I mean, I might be the worst, but yeah, we were a terrible power couple.
I empowered the wrong fucking person. No, actually, that would have been Tony. Empowering Tony would have been a terrible idea.
You still could.
Okay, so we get to the funeral itself. I think it's probably held here at the carnival. Like, you let people in and have a funeral there, unless people want it to be in a particular setting. Does anybody have a strong visual sense of where we are for the funeral?
I think that Parvati's mirror maze on her death collapsed. And so now there's just like random like mirrors that are still standing, like pristine. Like it's a living memorial to Parvati, but the actual structure has basically disappeared, leaving this open air, like kind of circle with holes in it of mirrors that people can kind of walk through. And I think the ceremony is like right in the middle there.
Interesting. No, I love that, and I think like y'all's central chamber is now sort of exposed to the air, so Parvati is laid out on this like central mirrored table like it's an altar, and there are these thrones surrounding it. Again, all the mirrored material, but just freestanding in this open field now. So I said I was going to steal a little bit from Fellowship, and so we're gonna take the idea of a long journey from Fellowship and do it here to lay out some of the drama that happens at the funeral itself. So the idea is we're going to start with Alex, and Alex, as a player, is going to lay out a blow up, a fight, painful social interaction, something that goes awkward and wrong at the funeral because emotions are high and all these people shouldn't be mixing in the same place, sort of thing. And then you're going to choose another one of the players, pass off to them, and they're going to talk about like how this situation resolves. I mean, it doesn't have to resolve for the better, but it will pass. But they'll get to describe who steps in, who deals with it, how they deal with it, what that looks like, what the sort of fallout from it is. Does that make sense?
Yes. Alrighty, so one scene that I've got in mind is when Ter and Ares first lock eyes at the funeral. Tell me, Lauren, how does it play out?
Holy shit. Oh, Jesus. It has to be like, I guess Tyr and Ares haven't interacted since this point. So I feel like, and Tyr has no idea that Apep told Ares. So I think when they lock eyes, there's no recognition in Tyr's gaze. But I think Ares has to just fly at him and punch him in the face.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's. I think she's yelling like, "You fucking murderer!"
Yeah,
at you.
exactly. Yeah, like you killed her, you motherfucker. Like, and I think Tyr is just there taking it.
So yeah, I think she gets in some good blows on you. Go ahead and take 2 harm from that. Before Thor comes in and pulls her off of you. Thor is here at the funeral in somber question mark dress.
Her formal leopard print.
No, she's definitely in black. It's black. It's skin tight. It's leather. There's lots of laced up sections and cutouts. It's technically decent. Probably not what you'd first think of for funeral wear. But she's pulling Ares off of you and sort of like stroking her shoulder and whispering at her that like shit ain't worth it. Come on, we have this is for Parvati. We can't blow this up until everything gets laid out for her.
I kind of want to have a vision off of the back of it, but I don't know who I envision dying yet. But maybe I could come back to that.
You only have the most uplifting visions. So Lauren, why don't you lay out another blow up or issue or problem that happens here at the funeral?
Ew. Shoot. Can I throw it back to Moirai?
No, Alex is going to end our stuff so that we all go around laying out and addressing one problem.
In that case, yes, no, this is perfect. I want to know what happens when I feel bad because we haven't seen this god before, but when
Taiki?
Yeah, Laverna. When Laverna comes in dressed 150% in exactly what Apep is wearing.
So Laverna's sort of one of our potential gods.
Ah, shit, sorry. I didn't realize it. I'm so bad at this game, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
I don't know. I'm blanking. I don't know.
Well, there's lots of complicated shit laid out there. Name one person that you think's involved in it, and we can list the problems that might come up.
Well, I guess what if Tony turns up and crashes the funeral?
All right, so Tony's definitely showing up. I think he's just slightly drunk. He's totally like he can handle it sort of thing. But like he's getting to meet all these people and he keeps going around and showing off that, it was his tweet that got retweeted and everyone saw that picture of Ami and Tyr. So who do you think the interaction with is? Do you think it's with Ami or
Oh yeah,
Anyone else?
100%. Yeah, it's fully Ami.
Okay, and are we going to hear from Dave or Ryan about how this plays out?
Dave.
So yeah, you see him mingling through this crowd, and you recognize the sort of like little stumble, little slur sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Amy's pissed at what he did to Tyr there. So she's going to go up and like start actually yelling at him and like telling him off, and he's probably going to start yelling back. And it's going to get Amy pissed enough that she's going to banish him to an oil rig off the coast of Japan.
Oh, well then, that's specific. I think that's probably gonna take a miracle there. So what would be your choices? And what does it look like as you do this to him?
I don't want to I don't want to completely derail the funeral yet and have Amaterasu show up.
Oh, we can have a simmering sort of build up if you prefer.
No. I have some specific ideas about her, and I know I keep saying it, but it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like the right time. Going to see what I don't want them to see.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a minute. What did you say?
Someone's going to see what I don't want them to see. And I think someone I care about gets hurt in the process.
All right. And what does it look like as you banish him?
So the reason I chose to do this is based on the Amaterasu story, because Amaterasu banished her brother from heaven, and he was the god of the ocean. So so that's why the oceans near Japan are so rough. So I think I like just yell, "Get out of here!" And a wave just comes up, like big tsunami comes and somehow just pinpoints onto Tony and pulls him out into the sea. He gets flung and he just shows up later in a wave like crashing over this oil rig halfway across the world.
Cool. Give me a minute to think about those consequences, and we'll see how those play out. But in the meantime, why don't you lay out another issue that happens here at the funeral?
It's got to be that awkward moment between Tyr, Ami, and Apep, where Apep thinks something happened. Ami was like, no, we stopped it before something happened. And Tyr's like, actually, I was willing to go quite a bit further. At least that's what I was reading into Tyr.
I don't know if he was.
I wasn't necessarily thinking that they were going to have sex, but I thought that you were going for like heavy makeouts. Or was it just going to be one kiss?
I think it was just gonna be one kiss. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still that awkward moment where Apep saw the tweet stream, so he thinks something big happened. There's probably still some awkwardness between Amy and Tyr, but there's basically that that the pressure is on the love triangle.
So maybe
and of course Zoe's here too to make matters worse.
Oh yeah. So maybe you running into Apep there?
Yeah. I think literally, like, Amy turns a corner into Apep.
So yeah, how do you react? How does this blow up sort of go over?
I think Apep has his initial reaction is like, "Why should we are going, Amy? Come on," just kind of pissed at her. But he's overall trying to play this off like, "Yeah, I mean, tear kiss somebody, that's not a big deal. Why would I care about it?" But he's obviously really hurt by it. Like, he doesn't think that anything more happened, but still, this is a big deal to him, sort of thing. But trying to act like, yeah, I mean, it's not like we're anything. I mean, Tyr can do whatever Tyr wants, sort of stuff. And trying to maintain his broody, finding his light, too cool for funerals sort of thing, and act like he doesn't know why people keep bringing this up. And also, why are you talking to him when Zoe's here? And come on, don't you know that they have history? He's already got one fight.
No, because no one ever told Amy what the history was.
Don't you follow his Twitter? Come on.
Fuck, no. Amy's not stupid.
Harsh, but true.
Nice. So I think there's just general awkwardness there. Ryan, what's our last issue that comes up here during the funeral?
Dang, we already had Ares decides to clock people. What else could go terribly wrong here?
The Moirai and Thor don't really get along these days. Mm.
It doesn't have to be a fight. It could be like an emotional breakdown. It could be a secret getting out.
I'm trying to think of something Moirai specific, and all I know about the Moirai is that Zia, kind of a cool take on everything, and I never know what they're going to do at any moment. So
that's the great thing. You can pick anything.
I know.
Well, it's a social gathering. The sort of like ancient world mythology for an awkward thing with someone like the Moirai at a social gathering is spouting out prophecy where no one wants it.
Yeah, can I have a scene with Moirai? I don't know which personality is the four, or if they're all at the four or something. I don't know. All options are awesome. How something prophecy related. Dang, I had a thought here. Okay, the Moirai make some sort of prophecy that manages to take off both Ares and Zervan. So what do they do about that, I suppose? Or try to control Fallout? Or it doesn't sound like the Moirai would ever try to control Fallout of the prophecies. You should just take the truth and deal.
So, something touching on Ares or Zervan, or possibly both if you can think of something. But what sort of uncomfortable prophecy do you lay out?
I think it's going to be a nice and simple one because, the end of the day, the simplest prophecy is the best. I think Moirai. Oh, which one would it be? Right, this is definitely Atropos at the forefront with the short, jagged hair. I think like Ares and Zovan are talking about something off in a corner. And the Moirai just walks up and pulls out the thread that Z took from the body of one of the killers. I think just like shoves it in Ares' face, looks directly at Zovan, and says, "We aren't going to stop. There's going to be more. This is what you've doomed us to." And then just walks away.
Are you interested in laying out a prophecy potentially? I could see something like ending on Ares here if you wanted to lay out a prophecy for how you see Ares dying, or you could just leave it at tossing shit at their feet and walking away.
Oh, actually, yeah. I have that whole move. Mm. Oh man, what do I want to do? I think we see like Atropos go for it. Like he is super ready to just lay it down. This is like flicker of like almost sympathy, like looking at Ares and thinking like, do I really want to do this? And just like in the instant of hesitation, Moirai just decides to leave it at that.
Nice. So things have been rocky throughout the funeral, but it does manage to wrap up. There are some very nice words said about Parvati, and I don't know. I think there's just like a mirrored urn that ends up sitting in the middle of this table, because not a lot of her left. Now we're
I was planning on doing it during the funeral.
Okay, cool.
As basically, Amy prefaces it by saying, like, this is a song that she thinks that she realized she would have liked to have played for Parvati, but she's not going to have the chance, so she's going to play it for the rest of the Pantheon. And it's the song I shared last week, Evening Prayer.
Okay. Do you have a link handy?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, why don't you throw it up in the chat? We'll take our second break here. So listen to that, and we'll come back and get your performance move out on the table. And when we come back. Cool. was odd.
Oh, I know what it is. I forgot to plug in my my headphones back in, so we were probably getting feedback noise.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I misplaced my water. I'll be right back.
That one lonely skull. Didn't even realize it had changed until I was reading through it, and I was like, oh, this looks
There's
a bit
still
off.
time. It could be less lonely.
Yes, there could always be more to join it.
If we were trading Aries, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dave, first of all, your miracle, I fear the hour is getting to my brain, but I have thought of the very obvious consequences here.
Mhm.
But I think someone you care about gets hurt. I think you're going to find out that Tony did not have a good landing.
Fair.
I think you're definitely going to find that out from like a parent or something. And as far as someone seeing something you don't want them to, I'm just going to mysteriously lay it out as Zurvan has seen something that you don't want Zurvan to have seen. And we'll leave it at that for the moment.
Okay.
But you have a performance that I think is going to sort of be our capstone here to the funeral itself, sort of dramatic highlight. So describe to us the visuals. We have the sort of aesthetic sense from your song.
Yeah. So what's very different about this performance is, you knew Amy did the whole, cosplay flash mob thing. She never just, did any performance as herself. She always played a character. This is just Amy with like one of like the half size electric keyboards. She slowed down the song a little bit. She does not have like one of those like classic pop singer voices. She doesn't, like do that like tonal undulation of it. She just basically sings the song straight. Probably a little bit of a mousy voice, and just simply, but she pours her heart into this. Like, she's not, obviously the song's a cover, but she's not singing, even though she's singing the words from the song, she's not singing the song. She's singing like the emotions that she's feeling right now. That she's not like, she's recognizing that no one really knows what a relationship should be with each other, and that we're under so much stress and pressure for what's going to happen, and we just need to, and that desire to just like connect with each other and say, hey, I'm here for you, can you be here for me? And that's really what she's after, and the message she's putting out. So even though it's a performance in front of mortals, the message is actually to her fellow pantheon.
Nice.
That's what her intention is.
I really like the idea that it sort of like starts as this normal musical performance that like we hear Ami's voice sort of thin and gaining confidence as she goes through and delivers this message. But like, is this the first time at all that you've given a performance? Like a capital P performance?
No. This is the No, I think she hasn't. Like, I think she kept up with the flash mobs and things like that. She probably, was very haphazard before and not really acknowledging the weight of the performance and really trying to, put a message into it. This is the first time that she's doing it in earnest.
I gotcha. So yeah, you get through the chorus and lyrics of the song, and I think as you're going further in it, your voice sort of multiplies and gets deeper. The chords from the little keyboard spread out more and more until by the end of it, it's just this wall of sound that's sort of deafening, but also all these intimate voices right in your ear sort of feeling that loses the cohesion of the words at the end and just spreads out into this emotion that hits over people like a wave. So why don't you roll with dark?
That is a 10.
Wow, I did not expect our sun god to be so dark.
She does have a +1 dark.
Nice. So tabs on tabs on tabs. On a hit, the audience gets it, gaining you a string with someone present. So who is that?
I think I want to string on Ares.
Ooh, interesting. How do you how is this resonating to get you a string? What do you think is connecting in there?
I think it's very obvious that Ares is hurting the most. And rather than connecting with the Pantheon, she's looking for people to blame in the Pantheon. So this might be that wake-up call of, look, it's okay to be sad, and we're not it don't probably at the end it feels like this is directed towards Ares, it's okay, we're here for you, and specifically Ami is here for you.
So I think, yeah, as the light is fading from your vision and your eyes and your throat and things are sort of calming down, she comes into focus in front of you. And for the past 3.5 days, she's been in full-on God mode the whole time, eyes crimson red and those glittering blood tears streaking down from her. And you see her blinking, and it's oh shoot, I've forgotten her name. What's her real name? May, that's it. It's May's blue-green eyes. And as you're watching her, you see the red glitter track sort of wash away and dilute as you see her crying there, listening to your performance. But you have some other things to choose. So on a 10 up, your message resonates with the audience and they leave changed by it. However, someone misinterprets your message. Tell us who and how.
Oh,
so
this has gotta be Zoe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm totally just trying to spoof as much from the Amaterasu myth as possible. So Amaterasu was the ruler of the Japanese pantheon. I think that Zoe is going to get the message that Ami should be in charge of the pantheon. And she should be Ami should be top dog. So even though Ami doesn't want it, Zoe is going to maybe try to make that happen. Does that work for it?
I think so, yeah.
Because Zoe is not a big enough problem yet.
And then how do you think this experience changes the audience? In a general sense, how do you think they're different going forward?
I think that they're going to be much more open and reach out to the people in their lives and express their appreciation, all those emotions of and bonds that they have that they just never, they go unspoken, aren't unspoken anymore.
Nice. Yeah, so I think as this performance is dying down, you're sort of seated there at the piano, and you see standing next to you is Zoe, and she's got the like crown of light, and she's got the full wings, which are sort of the sandy motes of light, like waving in an invisible breeze, and she's got this glowing staff that's like split, sort of forked at the top. And she reaches a hand down to you to lift you up, and just she hugs you there in front of everyone, like she can see how overwhelming this is for you. And the light around the two of you, it just like builds and builds and builds into this giant banner of light streaming around the two of you. As Zoe like separates from you and sort of holds you, almost like you should be taking a bow for applause, sort of thing. How do you react?
Absolutely missing the message. I think that this is Zoe reaching out for like genuine like affection, and like, you know, recognizing that I could probably use a hug and she could probably use a hug too, and missing all of the like divine aspects of this.
So yeah, how are the rest of you reacting? Apep, I'm curious, like how you're reacting to Amy doing this song, and then Zoe getting up there and the two of them glowing at everybody.
Apep's definitely very aware of the performance because he can't not be, but I think he's kind of leaning against something. He's, you know, pulled out a cigarette, started smoking. He's not paying attention. Why does anybody think that they should look to see how he's reacting? But also, he is keenly aware of what's happening on stage and deliberately not reacting to it.
I think I'm interested in a keep your cool if you're not reacting.
I'm so
to all
bad
of
at
this.
that! Yay, XP!
What are you afraid might happen?
I am afraid Zoe's gonna get exactly the reaction she wants. Like she always does. Fucking Zoe. And that's a 7, so better than I might have done.
So let's see. Yep. There we go. 7 to 9, the GM will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Does anybody else have an idea?
Maybe Apep actually cries at a funeral.
My first thought is just that he's so bad at hiding his emotions or something that if anybody were to take a snap of Apep, it would clearly be the, broody Apep, acting like he doesn't care about any of this stuff, but look how badly it's gotten to him all over the social medias, but I don't know.
I like that. No, I like that. So I think if you stay and stoically endure this performance rather than like bolting in the middle of it, it will get to you at the end, and there will be pictorial evidence of how many feels you have and how little control you have over your tears, you unmanly, worthless husk.
I mean, fair. but I'm much better at leaving than I am at keeping my cool. So I think Apep's just gonna kind of whatever and blow off the end of the funeral. I'll meet you all at the wake. He is once again glitching through the level.
Then I think I'd also like to see a runaway roll from you.
I'm really good at that. And dang, why didn't I get XP for that last one? I should have failed.
Just weren't doing it right.
Yeah, so that's a 12. I can always get away.
That, by the way, Ryan, that is the same pain as Ami. I kept on trying to fail last session.
I nearly leveled the first session and I haven't gotten a single XP since. How?
You're just too amazing at everything.
No, I gave you an XP this session.
Right, you did. Did I mark that? No, I didn't. Hey, I'm very close.
See, that's what strings are for, to give your fellow players experience.
So, what is your safe place? Is it just getting to the wake and staking your place first, or are you, like, bugging out?
Normally, I would bug out to the cave, but the cave is looking a little worse for wear right now, and I don't feel like hanging out in rubble, and, I mean, I'm sure I can make it work somehow, but I am not feeling that. So, yeah, I'm just gonna, glitch ahead to the wake, and I'll see you all there.
Cool. So I think we can sort of move things forward to people moving on to the wake. Alex, where do you think the wake is?
Oh man, I have no idea.
Is it still here at the carnival, or is it somewhere off grounds?
I like the idea of keeping it at the carnival.
Okay. So, Lauren, what's another place at the carnival that move things off to that's less formal than this now open air mirror maze?
The teacup ride?
That is 10,000% less formal. You are correct. Cool. I think there's this weird bar in the middle of the teacup ride that a lot of people have to like negotiate their way into get to. It's a really terrible idea and ends with lots of people falling off the teacup ride. I think it's slowed down a bit, but yeah, there's just it's sort of ridiculous and hard to keep up good grief during that process. Yeah, just try suing a god, see how that goes for you. So Tyr, I'm curious, like what do you see happening for you here at the wake? How are you taking this all in?
I don't know. I suppose he's been mostly fixated on Ares. After Ares beat the shit out of him.
Fixated in what way?
Probably. He's probably feeling guilty. Yeah, he's probably wondering how he can make it up to Ares, or if he even can make it up to Ares. His instinct is probably to seek out Apep, because clearly Apep has enough emotional spoons and depth to deal with sad Tyr. So I think his instinct is probably going to also feel out Apep. perhaps. And then another option is, I don't know, seek counsel with the Moirai, because the Moirai likewise has prophetic visions, and this is rather troubling. Like it's like
Okay.
you can go in many directions.
So you need to fix things with Ares. Do you think you go to Apep or Moirai for that?
Ooh, good question. Moira knows Ares better, but he trusts Apep more. Probably Moirai. Also, the Moirai and Tyr haven't had any scenes together, I don't think.
All right, Moirai, where does Tyr find you? Like, what sort of location are we at here?
We're also the teacup, right? Aren't we?
Yeah, sort of like in the middle of things, or off in a shadowy corner, or what?
Yeah, in the middle of things. Like turning the teacup slowly.
Yeah, somberly.
So, Tyr, what do you say as you come up?
I guess did the Moirai see what happened? I guess what had gotten around that Ares beat the shit out of Tyr.
Sorry, what was that?
I mean, probably. That is how gossip works. But what were you going to say, Alex?
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I figured it'd be pretty hard to miss.
So Tyr probably says he probably asks did you foresee any of this happening? This untimely death?
All of our deaths are untimely. What did you expect?
Perhaps premature is a better word to tie to it. We all have 2 years, which is no time at all, but Parvati is only allowed a fraction of that, which is unjust, for she was such a kind soul.
Fraction of a fraction is hardly a change.
I think it very much sounds like you're shutting Tyr down here.
I'm just saying the truth, and everyone keeps telling me that, but I always love rolling dice.
Oh my gosh, that is like the Monsterhearts equivalent of I'm not being mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah, why don't you roll with cold?
That is an 11.
Good lord. So you get one of the choices from below. Tyr, do you have any strings on the Moirai?
I have one on Moirai because I showed you what love was in a hard time, and you're not giving me any back.
Okay, so you can't choose the second one, but you can choose any of the others.
I'm all about spreading the sadness, so I might give you the condition fatalistic.
Ew.
You are stacking up these prophecy-related conditions.
I was gonna say, yeah, that makes me. So, what was it? It's fatalistic.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm a rate of inevitability, self-flagellating, fatalistic.
Are we sure you came out of your darkest self?
I'm like this close to going back into it as well. Nice. So I think Tyr has that shot of a half-opened mouth of oh, you just said something that is quite true and real, and I don't know how to respond to that. And then replies with You and I share such similarities and such differences. I foresaw this happening, but I could not do anything to stop it. Or more to the point, I did not try to stop it. And I deserve every ounce of Ares' wrath from today. I suppose what I'm seeking is guidance from someone who has stood in my position before. Have you sought to correct or alter the path of one of your prophecies?
No,
And why?
because sometimes these horrific things are the best we're going to get. And I'm too afraid to change that.
Have you seen anything else? Anything else to illuminate what will become of us?
Do you really want to know?
I think he thinks for a second. It's like we're slowly like rotating on this teacup. And he says, no. No. I think like I'm leaning on my own conditioning, which is like the weight of inevitability. Just like if this is to come to pass, then perhaps it is the course meant for us. But then what good are these powers if we can do naught with them? If we can't save people from hurt, if we can't protect them.
So that we can come to terms with what is to happen. With this fraction that we have left. And maybe even a fraction of that.
And with this fraction we have left, what can I do to stop Ares from hurting so? You know Ares better than all of us.
And we all see where that got me.
Still. I fear there is naught I can do to help Ares.
Maybe there's just nothing anyone can do to help any of us.
I sort of feel like we keep flirting around your ending move. Just because you keep like trying to change Tyr's mind about how he views this sort of what's in store for y'all. What do you feel there?
It's the
So you're not giving him the details. He refused the details, but you still keep talking about what to do with this time we have left. You still keep circling around that inevitable death.
And please give me the condition morbid.
All right, sounds good. Let's roll it.
Okay. So Tyr picks up morbid to go along with this pack of conditions, and you roll a turn on with cold.
That is a 9.
Nice.
So on a 7 to 9, they can either give you a string or choose one of the reactions. What do you think, Tyr?
You're such a hard one to promise stuff to because you're so close and reserved, Moirai.
A string is like a promise that Moirai gets to choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to give you a string. And I think you get a string on me because you see that while Tyr is a god who champions like morals and beliefs and has such conviction in them, underneath that there's like there's no foundation to as a pillar to hold up those beliefs. Like he's just this confused, like lost person who doesn't know what he's doing, even though he gives off an aura of like being the adult.
And Moirai, is there anything that you want to tempt Tyr with here now, or do you want to hold on to that string?
You tell me to not listen to Zervan.
Oh, actually, that is a good idea. Because, I mean, if you really want to help Ares, then the one thing we can do is turn on the one who gave us this fate.
Nice. So you want to tempt him into your growing cabal?
Yeah. Oh, especially because if that's the case, I definitely tell you, like, Zervan, like, I shared this with Zervan. In fact, Zervan, like, gave me this prophecy with, like, a lot of clarity. And he did nothing to help either.
Hmm.
And then you can sort of spin that around to say, like, well, clearly, if listening to Zervan does nothing to help you, does nothing to help Ares, you do the maths kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. So I think we'll leave that one there. Apep, what do we see from you here at the wake? Who are you interacting with? You found your safe place to set up at.
Apep is definitely at the bar when other people arrive. I am not totally sure what I want to do here.
I think as you're sitting there considering, you hear a thunk of a glass next to you, and you sort of turn over your shoulder, having to brush out of the way, as giant glowing wings are flapping at your face. There's Zoe, just sort of smiling over her drink at you evilly.
He puts down his glass heavier than he really is to it. What do you fucking want, okay?
Your head on a spike? I mean, that'd be a start.
Lauren, yes. How dare you be so right? Well, can't always get you what you want.
It's a shame, but I do so look forward to trying.
Yeah, but, I mean, we all know how this turns out. You can't win.
Can't? How's your little man cave doing?
Here, really? This is where you want to start something?
I'm not starting anything, Jamie. I'm just willing to finish anything you want to throw down.
Okay. So, you can see Jamie kind of nod to himself like he's keeping time silently and I want to blot out the sun right now. It doesn't need to be actually dragging planets around, but I want everyone here to see sudden darkness. Just like, look at who you're messing with, Zoe. You don't have my power.
All right. So think about what that's going to look like, but first you have some consequences to choose.
Yes. I think, again, someone sees what you don't want them to, because that's the most Apep thing ever. I mean, I don't have feelings. None of you see what my feelings are. And the other one is going to be I attract another god to the scene. Or other gods to the scene.
It's poetic beauty.
I just can't pronounce words, especially not when they're ambiguously plural.
It's grammatic creativity and genius. Leave it alone. Cool. I think both of those sort of wrap up into the same thing. So why don't you start by describing to us what blotting out the sun looks like here?
So it doesn't look like a normal sort of solar eclipse because it's not really. The sun sort of disappears as if something unfathomably huge and oddly snake-shaped is just swallowing it. And there's no corona around it. It's just a black circle in the sky for a moment. And it's going to pass eventually, but for now, it's just gone.
Nice. And what does Apep look like in the middle of this?
Apep looks so super snaky. Like he's ready to explode into Apep snake again, but he's not quite there.
And as this like dark falls, the scene sort of, all of the unimportant people sort of fade into the background, into the shadows and darkness, and you're standing there sort of sucking in the darkness. Your skin, I think, is starting to glint and scale up a little bit. And Zoe is there standing across from you. She's clutching that like glowing staff in her hand, and the wings are spreading up from her, glowing brighter and brighter to try and like counteract this darkness that you're throwing out. And she looks at you. Oh, poor little Jamie. You always thought you could play with the adults and do something special. Guess what? I'm specialer than you are, and here I'm gonna beat you in front of everyone to prove it. And she pulls back the staff and swings it at you. But it doesn't connect with you. It thunks to a stop in a very old, wrinkled, black hand. As just rising out of the smoke and the ground and nowhere that you saw, there's Zervan standing between the two of you. And he grabs the staff and tosses it out of Zoe's hand, and it sort of disappears into motes of light that go away. And he looks back and forth between you and says, Apep, what rudeness is this?
She wanted to start a fight here. I was showing her why she shouldn't. I was trying not to go all out here.
I thought I had told you. I thought you were to be preparing yourself. He turns away from you, looks at her and says, Girl, why do you wear these things? They are not yours. They are not you. And with a wave of his hand, like the glowing wings, the crown, they just whoosh off of her into these swirling, glowing motes of sand that build up around her, that spread out and make this sort of like dunescape in a field around the two of them. Says, you, girl, you are meant for more than just being someone's second. You are the destroyer. You are the ruler of all things. The sand was once your kingdom taken, but now you return. Stand up, join us, Set. You are of the Pantheon.
And in the background of these panels, I mean, they probably cut away and everything, but in the ones where you can see Jamie, he's just flailing like, what? Fuck, no, come on, what?
No,
but
no,
he
why
doesn't
are
even
you
get
listening
speech
to me?
bubbles.
I said veto! Veto! And as she comes stepping out of her glowing sandy glory, thinking like whites and golds and greens, she just looks at you, Apep, with this infinite pleasure. This just she could dine on this moment for forever and never get full. And we'll go ahead and end with a brief musical performance. Oh no! I didn't get ready. Guys, I'm terrible at this. There we are. No, computer, you have to do what I said. They're all staring at me. They're judging me. They can see that this is all going wrong. All right. Here's Zoe's coming out song. So yes, we have the glorious light and music and transformation and swirling in the air and coming down and looking all full of herself, and we just end on Zervan placing his hand on her shoulder and with just like this loving, kind look in his eyes says, "I've missed you." Stop there. So everybody's favorite person's now everybody's favorite god.
I'm like both. No, the session's over, and no, fucking Zoe. So we're already over time. I think that was amazing, and hopefully I'm going to carve out time to have a longer feedback and wrap up next time. But I'm just interested in hearing, since next time is going to be our last session with these people. I'm interested in going around the circle and hearing a quick wish or two from everyone of just what you'd like to see out of our story in the last session. So I'll go in reverse order for what I've been doing all night. So Ryan, you have to start. So my wish is for 6 more sessions, and I said it, so you've got to comply now.
No, curses!
I guess my other one was going to be for everyone to be happy forever, and it's all okay until they die, but that's also out. So, I don't know. I guess basically the same stuff as before. I mean, we had even more Moirai multiplicity weirdness, and it's still not enough. I want so much more of it. It's so cool every time. And I still want Ami to punch Apep with the sun. Like, she did a orbital laser. That's not the same. I expect to be punched with the sun. Just straight up kill me. I deserve it. And I would like to see the Apep tier fallout of this social media whatnot, which is like 7 wishes. I can't count. I don't care. I get them all. I said so.
Into it. Lauren?
Yeah, I second to many of those wishes. I guess I'm most interested in seeing how this weird love quadrangle shakes out. Yes, darkest self for everyone.
Just end with everyone in Darkest Self.
Very close to getting back into darkest self. It's a bit scary. Yeah, no, I want to see what happens to Apep and Tyr. Like, I feel like they're so doomed, but I secretly ship them really hard because they're really bad for each other. So yeah, I'm just so fascinated by how Zoe's slash dispute how Sep's gonna like shake that whole thing up, and I'm curious to see like how if like her appearance just triggers like the inverse of here, like, and I'm curious to see if he's like gonna get super jealous because I feel like he's been in a spot where like he's felt pretty comfortable and secure with Apep, like even though their like relationship is a bit like not the best. So it'll be interesting to see like how Tyr reacts when someone else is on the scene. I also wish that I get some more integrity so I can just prophesize how everyone's gonna die in the next session because it won't matter. So I can say what I like. And
yeah, there's a move to constantly think about. What are your integrity hits?
I have 9 because I had 6 in the last session and then I didn't get any integrity this session. Which makes me sad. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, likewise, I just wish for a million more of these games because they're all amazing. Yeah, I think this is my wishes, I guess.
Cool. Dave?
So first off, you keep on saying we go over every session, and I'm just gonna say I'm like, wait, you mean it's 2:30? No, it's not 2:30. What do you mean the session's over? Because yes, I could play this game so much more. It is so great. It's really hard for me to come up with wishes because holy fucking shit, I did like all the shit I wanted to do with Amy. Like she grew up. She got she really found herself. She like reached out to people. This is I want to thank everyone. Alex, you coming in and trying to like push Amy was like fantastic. The love confession with Tyr, where like they were both like giving in and rejecting at the same time. That was great. Apep, you're making it so easy to hate you. God, Zoe is like the worst relationship that Amy could possibly have right now. And Patrick, you're always making it worse, which is great. I think the only thing left on my Amy bucket list is to see her lose all control, fuck up Apep, and then give in to Amaterasu. And I probably will have to have a boundaries conversation with the group about that, because the ideas what I have is not going to be kind to Amy, and that might get X-carded. But
we can talk about details next time, but I think there's something interesting in there, because part of Set Zoe's whole backstory is going back to the first session of some of Tyr's early prophecies, where Tyr tried to call out like, well, this new god's gonna be on the edge, but I think if we take the right approach, we can pull them away from the darkness. And of course, he totally ended up whiffing on that. So as a long-term play that's coming back in here, I sort of took the reverse of that, and instead of being very corruptible, I see Zoe, especially in her god self as Set, as very corrupting. So I could see her like having a heavy influence over Ami next time, and maybe driving her to go over that edge.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Ami really needed to like set boundaries with Zoe, and was terrible. Like, to even recognize that Zoe was out of control.
Cool. So I think I can definitely take that as a flag for like, I will have Zoe Lady Macbething you the entire time next time.
Oh, poor Ami.
Anything else?
Well, I mean, there's so goddamn much to say. So, in the most literal terms, no, this is amazing. Honestly, like this might have been like some of the best Monsterhearts I've ever had. Like this and one other session I can think of, like have stood out as like the pillar of Monsterhearts to me. So thank you so much.
I adore how much y'all lean into every bit of every storyline. It's so gratifying and great. Alex, any wishes going forward into the last session?
More of every character, because they're all so amazing. Wish myself I should probably have some conflicts with Zervan. I'll try and like put that in next time. Actually, go somewhere with this whole plot line I've been pushing like since day one.
Yeah, I think you've built up a second ally here. You're starting to build an actual cabal. Ares you had gotten on board last time, but of course Ares has been distracted this time. But I think we can sort of go through the funeral time, and we'll probably skip forward maybe at least a month or so in time for the next one, just to reestablish for the final one. But I like the idea of pushing towards some sort of confrontation or climax or something there with your cabal versus Zervan. That's cool. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm just.
Lauren, say words, but unmute yourself.
I was going to say, if I had any integrity, I was going to prophesize that you would kill Zervan.
I liked Ryan's suggestion of you holding yourself to an unnecessarily high standard of what you should have done with this weird information in your prophecies and everything, and blaming yourself for this whole situation, I could see that as taking a higher moral ground stand against yourself.
Nice. I will take it, and then I will for sure spend that other prophecy of the Moirai killing David.
So that's something to look forward to. Alex, anything else that you want to flag for next time?
Yeah, I'm just so super down for like the whole Army Zoe Apep to quadrangle of hate / murder / love / who knows. So there for that.
Cool. So I think we have two very strong threads moving forward for our last session of this whole. It's nice. It's a nice split between the emotional quagmire that all of your teenage selves have found yourself in, and this like godly revolution high sort of metafiction level mess that you found yourself in. So I like moving forward with the two of those. I am very strongly trying to stick to my convictions and move on to a different set of people next time, because I do want to play a different feel of Pantheon, but I also want to play with these people more. I love this whole setup. I don't know. I'm weak. I may give in at some point, and I'll tell you how that goes. But for the moment, it's definitely 100% there will be all new characters, and we will remake the world next time. We can't continue these stories, so I'm tragically heartbroken that we can't, but we may. Who knows?
That's okay. I already have ideas for for my next character, and this time I'm going to play the dick.
The gauntlet is cast.
This time, everyone will play the dick. But no, I want to see this comic. I want to read it from the beginning to the end. I would love time to play out some of the like longer, slower storylines that are just sort of lightly coloring the background of what's going on here. I would love a chance to get to every one of the gods that we would have for this pantheon. I have ideas for some of them, but still some of them are sort of nebulous, and I don't know who they're going to land on. Hint, it's definitely not going to happen next time, I don't think, but Tony's the next one on the list.
I figured. I was curious as to whether you would actually make it, what's his name, like Susano. Because that would just be terrible.
But I love that we've had the sort of completionist thing of for Wicked of like, we've killed a god, we've also seen a new one come in. That feels very nice. Oh, I love this. My brain. I wish my brain was better at the end of these sessions. That's my other wish. I just feel like jelly by the end. Oh, okay. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.